The truth is out there.
It is one of the world's greatest mysteries, Scotland's legendary Loch Ness Monster. So does the lake creature actually exist? Well, if you ask one man, he'll tell you it is in fact no myth.
Every day it's flaunted in front of your face.
Hundreds of people in the valley say they are hearing voices in their heads.
You just choose to ignore it.
Belief can be a powerful force. No one knows that better than the people who are sure they've seen Bigfoot.
Real accounts.
He says he knows who's playing mind games.
Rogue government officials that are sponsoring this, also corrupt business officials, and private citizens.
From real people.
Hundreds of people turned out tonight for the unveiling of a very controversial statue.
Yeah, it really is. The Satanic Temple of Detroit revealed the one-ton bronze statue.
It's time for you to take a swim.
I'm just excited to see my Lord and Savior Baphomet represented in such glorious Italian stone. I do hope his eyes gaze upon me, and that my allegiance is recognized.
In the dark waters.
The Dark Waters channel is for entertainment purposes only. Although information in these stories can be traced back to relevant and true sources, Dark Waters strongly discourages its viewers, listeners, and subscribers from visiting the site of incidents and encounters discussed or revealed on the show. In other words, we will not be held responsible if you are attacked by a dogman, molested by a Bigfoot, bitten by vampires, chased by chupacabras, abducted by aliens, accosted by the Men in Black, investigated or arrested by the local law enforcement, CIA, FBI, NSA, EPA, BLM, or another alphabet group, whether on U.S. soil or abroad. Thank you for tuning in, and enjoy the show.
On the last installment of the Dark Waters channel, we brought you 10 horrifying tales from Hurricane Katrina. On this installment, we take you back to New Orleans for 3 terrifying true stories from New Orleans, Louisiana. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
It's been storming here every day for the past few weeks. My home has a front porch that has a screen door, which I keep locked as I love to leave my front door open to get fresh air. Last night, I locked the screen door and left the front door open as usual. Whilst I worked in the kitchen preparing dinner, I started getting that feeling that someone was watching me from the front door. But the screen was locked, and it would be virtually impossible for someone to be there, so I just continued cooking. After preparing dinner, I walked over to the front door to close it. That is when I noticed large, muddy boot prints right outside the front door. I don't know who was watching me, but someone was. So that morning, on my way to work, I just checked the screen door and it hadn't been tampered with. Over the next few days, I saw those same muddy boot prints every morning, even when it had stopped raining for days at a time. I have a very nosy neighbour named Beth. She is the old lady who spies on everyone and calls herself the Neighbourhood Watch. She told me something so frightening that I have been considering moving ever since. The man who owned the house before me left the property one night and he just simply packed his essentials and everything that could fit into the truck and he got the hell out of here. Beth said that he would complain about muddy boot prints outside his door every week. So she began to watch the house at night, and that is when she saw a dark figure appear at the base of the steps and walk up through the screen door without opening it and stand there at the front door. The night he moved out, he told her he saw it, and that's all he told her, and then he sped off. So I was distraught and not knowing what to do. I went to my sister-in-law, who is one of those sensitive types to these things. She came over, and as she walked up the steps, she simply stopped, and then the colour drained out of her face, and she stared at the front door, and she began to shake, and she grabbed me by the hand and said, that we needed to leave, and we needed to leave now and come back later. In the car, I absolutely begged her to tell me what she had seen. She only said, it's best that you don't know. So when we reached her house, she called some of her church members, and 10 of them followed us back to my house, and that's when they surrounded the house and they prayed.
Lord Jesus Christ, please have your angelic army build up and remove all demons, their devices, and all their power from within this protective hedge, and have them sent to the abyss. Please have your angels destroy all demonic.
While they were praying, I entered the front door only to see the muddy boot prints on the hardwood floor leading from the kitchen to the front door. The prince stopped right at the threshold. She came to the porch and told me they prayed to the angels to put a protective barrier on my home. And when I looked back, my God, the prints were gone. Now, I haven't had anything strange since that day, but, you know, she still will not tell me what she saw. My encounter with the faceless man happened this year during Mardi Gras. My boyfriend and I were driving around trying to find a place to park and catch a night parade on St. Charles Avenue. Somehow, we got lucky and got a spot on Marengo Street, 2 blocks away from the action. It was about 8:30, and the last parade of the day was about to pass by, so we grabbed our chairs, ladder and cooler and headed to St. Charles Avenue. We had been sitting there for a while drinking and talking to a few people when I realised I left my cell phone in the car. Initially, I didn't worry about it. The kids were with friends and I was having way too much fun to worry about a cell phone. And my boyfriend had his, so if we needed to call someone, we could, use his. Float 10 was passing when my boyfriend leapt in the air for some beads, tripping over the cooler and landing flat on his ass. The whole thing was funny, but he broke his cell phone when he fell. So now, with no means of communication and still with at least 2 hours left before the parade was over, I began to worry about my kids. So I said, I'm going to run to the car and get my cell phone. Walking back towards the car, the street away from the parade was not entirely deserted, but it was quiet. Everyone was behind me, and the noise of the party behind me helped with those isolated feelings that I was beginning to have. So then, as I get closer to the car, I noticed a person on the opposite side of the street. Now, it's Mardi Gras, so I think nothing of it at first, until I get this feeling. You know the way you feel when someone is looking at you? So I increased my pace whilst hitting the unlock button on my car keys. When I reached the car, I opened the driver's side door, which was on the street. I didn't want to open the passenger side because it was dark on that side of the car from a row of trees that were on the front yard of a house. I had to reach into the car over to the passenger side floor to pick up my cell phone. And when I climbed back out of the car, phone in my hand, I looked up. On the other side of the car was someone or something standing there right at the passenger side door. At the time, I thought it was a person. But when I looked to try to make eye contact, there was nothing there. No eyes, no mouth, no lips or nose. Oh, I just froze. The best way to describe it, it was like a mannequin. But what was really weird, it had clothes on, including the Mardi Gras beads. I just stood there for a few seconds, long enough to see the blank face twitch. I thought, holy crap. So I slammed the car door and I took off running back to the parade. The first officer that I saw, I told him that someone was trying to break into my car, and I stood on the corner of St. Charles and Marengo. I watched him walk the 2 blocks to my car. Then I saw the officer circle the vehicle, but when he got to the passenger side, he just stood there for a few minutes. Then he briskly walked back towards me. And so I said, "Did you see anything?" This officer was a black man, not light-skinned black, I mean coffee black, and he looked pale. His eyes were wide open and he was sweating. And he just said, "Miss, I don't know what I just saw, but when it's time to leave, I will walk you back to your car." Now, the parade ended, and when I turned around, that officer, along with another officer on horseback, was there on the corner. They escorted me and my boyfriend back to the car. When we got to the car, I explained to him what happened. To this day, he doesn't believe me. But I will tell you, that officer saw it too, and it was freaky.
In 2009, I did an investigation of the abandoned Six Flags theme park in New Orleans East. The paranormal activity there was brought to my attention by several occultists. They used the second floor of the theater for their rituals. These rituals were intense and made use of mirrors to raise demonic entities from a book called The Goetia. I don't dare write or say the names of these entities, as it is a form of worship which strengthens them. It was very easy to gain access to the park if you knew the schedules of the security patrols. Inside this place, you get the feeling that you're constantly being watched. It's almost as if there's a crowd of people there along with you. The humid night air and strong breeze played tricks on my nerves as I tried to stay calm while walking. You can hear the most random sounds, thumps and squeaks, shutter doors closing. However, as I got closer to the theater, the area took a much more sinister feel. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and the only instances where I get this type of sensation is when there's demonic energy present. The double French doors to the theater were already open, as if the building itself was waiting just for me. This is where I should have followed my gut instincts and called off this investigation, because looking up to the second floor balcony, I saw a huge orb of light move past the window. Now, for those of you who don't know, typically orbs are disembodied spirits, but they're never the size of this orb that I saw. It was the size of a basketball. Entering the building, there was a distinct difference in temperature from the humid, moist air outside. It was cool and dry. The smell of mold was making my nose flare and burn. The rituals were held on the second floor, where they configured mirrors in a circle. These were mirrors that they had found around the abandoned park, and they ranged in size from 5 feet to 8 feet. According to the cult leader, if I stood in the middle of the mirrors, the demon would show itself to me. So like an idiot, I did. Standing there, surrounded by these mirrors, initially I was amused, thinking to myself, these people say they conjured a demon. Yeah, right. Then, a few minutes later, it got real. Coming towards me across the wooden floor was the sound of these footsteps. As it got closer and closer, I could feel the actual floorboards move. Then in the mirror I saw a hoof and a leg. My eyes traced upward to see what was the most abhorrent sight I'd ever seen in my life. It was the face of a lion with glowing red eyes. The hoofs and legs were attached directly to the face, and protruding out from the face were 7 other legs with hooves. There was no body, just a face with these legs protruding out of it. The face stared back at me from the mirror and made me feel helpless and powerless. Then it began to move from mirror to mirror, circling me, each hoof making contact with the reflection of the floor in the room and making a sound as if someone was circling me, walking around on the wooden floor from mirror to mirror. But the eyes were focused on me. No matter which way I turned my head, the face and the eyes were there. I began to feel lightheaded and dizzy, and as I moved forward trying to exit the area, I blacked out. When I awoke, it was 9 a.m. in the morning. A beam of light from one of the holes in the roof of the building shone directly on the center of my forehead. Coming to my senses, I ran out of the building. When I reached my car, I found scratch marks all over my body. But that was not all. I used my cell phone to provide light last night. When I looked at my phone, there was a voice recording. Strange thing is, I don't remember pressing record on my phone. Okay, wow, guys. So it's time for some inside baseball. To the new subscribers, this is your boy, the narrator and host of Inside of Dark Waters channel, and the guy who runs his mouth on all the inside baseballs, Dark Waters. I want to start off by saying thank you to all our new subscribers who are coming over and joining the Dark Waters family. This truly is a family of people who not only, number one, like to be entertained with the highest quality form of entertainment that's currently out there from the horror genre of YouTube, but also who are respectful, kind, loving, and treat each other pretty well. Because when I look at the comments on other channels, then I look at the comments on this channel, I mean, you guys are really, really awesome. Every now and then we get a bad apple in there, and I take care of that, but you guys are truly awesome. And also what I mean by family is because I'm a firm believer that the reason why this channel is able to grow is because of the environment that we fostered, where we all work together and communicate, and you guys have unparalleled access, and I try and always respond to comments. So I really appreciate you guys. To the new subscribers, I want you guys to know pretty much how things work here. Again, thank you for coming over. Some of you guys came from the Darkness Radio interview, which I was very excited about. Some of you guys are coming in from Google. What you'll notice is I don't post, 3, 4, 5 videos a week. I don't do that because I want the videos to be top-notch quality and something that you really, really enjoy. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that ahead of time. Then I have some special thank yous I want to say. So I want to start off thanking Dave Schrader for having me on Darkness Radio. And if you guys haven't heard the Darkness Radio interview, I'll put the links in the description. It was a great interview. I think Dave and I really have some good chemistry. He's one of those guys that feels like I'm sitting down talking to someone in New Orleans and we're over drinks, just hanging out, laughing and joking. That was a great interview. Amy Rouse, thank you. Francine, thank you so much, Francine. You don't understand, for your help and your assistance. You guys are amazing. And then to the listeners who don't know, I've been invited to go on Coast to Coast AM. I think it's May 7th or May 8th to do an actual 4-hour interview on Coast to Coast AM. That is huge and amazing. I mean, when I say that's huge and amazing, that's like going on Good Morning America for me. So, I mean, I really, really appreciate Dave giving me that opportunity. And with that being said, guys, you guys know how competitive I am. And you know that, oh man, what's coming next is getting ready to be insane. When I say insane, insane. And I have to stop myself right there because I want to make whatever I talk about on Coast to Coast AM like an exclusive that I've never even spoken anything about, so I'm going to shut up. But all I can say is insanity. I'm going into my goodie bag and I'm pulling out some of the stuff that you guys have never heard. I've never even spoken about. Some of the stuff that I was saving for towards the end of the year. Some new stuff that just transpired that, man, insane. I mean, just insane is what's coming down the pipeline. Also, with that being said, if I could pull off what I really want to pull off for the Coast to Coast AM interview, I want to include, because you guys are on a journey with me. So, we have a couple of people who read, like Michelle Nestor. That was her in the 2 videos, in the 2 stories, and Michelle did a wonderful job. Michelle, shout out to you. Congratulations, my lady. You did a phenomenal job. I mean, you're the bomb. And Michelle is a young lady who does the intros to all of the shows. She said, tonight on the Dark Waters channel, we're doing blah, 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 blah. That's Michelle. And so, she really did good, guys. She really, really did good, and I really enjoyed it. a lot of guys do, a lot of these narrators do, so they do, what are you, oh my god, I'm stumbling, and you guys know I don't edit this. A lot of narrators do collaborations and all those things. You know, my angle is I'm collaborate with my subscribers, and because you guys are what makes this channel grow, and you guys are the people who actually support me. So my collaboration is with you. With that being said, I have a few stories coming up that I want to do for the Coast to Coast AM interview. I don't know if they'll play them. I don't know, you know, I haven't worked out all the details, but it would be great if they do, but haven't worked out all the details. But either way it goes, I want 3 more subscribers to help me out with this. So I need at least 1 more female. I have 1 that I've already selected. I need 1 more female and 1 more male. And what I'm going to do is, if you're interested, you're going to shoot me an email. And then from there, I'm going to shoot you a quick, like, paragraph or maybe 3 sentences for you to read, because there's certain voice types I'm looking for this. And if you fall in, then your voice may be heard on Coast to Coast AM. I don't know. I can't promise that. But if not, your voice will be a part of one of the most epic set of stories that hit YouTube. I promise you, this is, if you thought Dogman Siege of Lockett Ranch sounded good, I mean, this what's coming next is blowing that out of the water, and that's my word to you. Now, pivoting in another direction, some of you guys have seen this already. It was supposed to be in the last Inside Baseball, but it got cut short because I was using the new software and I did not know what I was doing, and I completely messed that up. But there is a call-in number for you guys. That number, I believe, is 504-507-1417. Let me see, it's 504. Yeah, you gotta forgive me again. I'm not gonna edit it. I'm just gonna keep talking. Because I do enough editing on a daily basis to where it's just, sometimes you just gotta let it roll. All right, it's 504-507-1214, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Now, that was supposed to go out the last Inside Baseball for you guys to know that you can call in. I've talked to a couple of people, and a couple of people have got the number and called, but that's going out to everyone this time, so everyone knows that is the number. If you want to call and chat it up with me, feel free to give me a call. Now, again, we got to put some boundaries, and we got to have a boundary box, and you know, don't give me a ring at 3 o'clock in the morning, because first of all, I'm not going to answer. If I do answer, the person that you talk to is really not going to be a nice guy. But outside of that, if I call and I miss your call, that means I'm probably working. If I'm not working, I'm doing homework with kids. But outside of that, I will call you back. And for those people who have called so far, they will tell you, wow, this guy calls me back. Like, literally, he calls me back as soon as he's available. So I look forward to speaking with you. Again, I'm outside of the box of what everybody else does, and I'm there for a reason, because there has to be a certain level of appreciation for those who help you become successful. And I told you guys 1,000 times, I said it over and over again, my belief is that the more people you help achieve their dreams, the easier it is for you to achieve your dreams and goals. So I'm very excited about speaking with you guys. Now let's talk about these stories that we have. The Muddy Boots story actually comes from Uptown New Orleans. When I say Uptown, we're talking about in the area of Oak Street and Leander Street, or Leonidas Street is how we call it down here. And this lady actually had this happen to her so many times that it was insane. Like, I condensed the story down to and the experience down to make it something that can be easily swallowable. You know, it was these muddy boot prints, like literally boot prints with mud on her porch. And just in if you've never been to New Orleans, you have to understand New Orleans has houses have porches, and typically it's either screened in with like a screening material and framed and screened in, and then there's these doors. Some of them have metal doors, some of them have wooden doors. This particular lady's house, and I didn't go in, but I just drove by and talked to her up front. It has one of those metal screen doors, so it's like, yo, there's no way somebody can just get in there if that door is locked. It's just not possible. And it's one of those neighborhoods that you need that screen door. So that was just an amazing story, and it was crazy just to hear that kind of stuff going on. I mean, it really, really, really was. The other story about Jazzland, that actually, the gentleman, I actually met him through a friend of mine who owns a restaurant down in the French Quarters, and this guy's a ghost hunter and an investigator, and he wanted to take me to Jazzland on a night investigation or to the property out there, because he said there's still a whole bunch of activity out there, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. But all those pieces of the puzzle will come together later on, as in the next week or so. The connection between my friend and him and I and all that stuff will come out. But the most peculiar thing about that was, I would have never thought of going to an abandoned amusement park. And I told him that. I said, what made you think about going to a place like that? He said, I didn't think about going to a place like that until he met a group, and he called it a cult of people. But until he met a group of people who decided that they were going to go in there and do some satanic rituals. And they actually challenged him. They didn't tell him about it. They challenged him to go and stand in front of these mirrors. And so, my skepticism in the situation was, so they hauled these mirrors past security into Jazzland, over fences, through barriers, didn't break any of them, and got them there. And he actually sent me some pictures of the mirrors, and it's freaky because these really are old mirrors from around the property. It's amazing how much stuff was still left in there when he went and did this investigation. I'm not interested in going to the Jazzland property. I don't even know if there's anything there anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's still there because I know they're trying to bring it back, but I'm not interested in going to the Jazzland property. It makes no sense for me to go to an abandoned amusement park where people are doing satanic things. That's just insane. But again, like I said on Darkness Radio, I really admire people who are researchers and investigators who really have the nerves of steel to go out there and do those kind of things. I mean, man, it's not in me. It's really not in me. And let me address this. So there were only three stories in here, and there's a reason why, and that's because I really am going to put a lot of effort and energy into everything for May 7th. It normally takes me so long to get stuff done because I do put a lot of energy in it, but when I start involving other people, there's other people who get in the mix. Sometimes they take a day longer or a day less. So I trim back to 3 stories. My next 2 sets of videos will be 3 to 5 stories. They won't be the long 10 chunks of 10 stories that we normally do. And that's the reason why. The minute we come out of the Coast to Coast interview and it's over, I'm dropping another chunk of huge, real long content, real long form content for you guys. So forgive the short form content and the condensed content, but as we come out of that, you'll get right back to where we left off. But I just want to make sure that there's an opportunity on the table that is seasoned, is done correctly, and I want to make you guys proud more than anything. I really, really want you guys to be proud to be subscribers to the Dark Waters channel, not just to be, I subscribed. I want it to mean something to be a subscriber, and the only way it can really mean something to be a subscriber for a channel is if, number one, you're involved in the channel, and number two, the person that represents the channel really does do the best work. And somehow, guys, and I really want to tell you how much I appreciate you. I'm getting messages where there's stuff on Reddit about Dark Waters channel. There's stuff on 4chan about the Dark Waters channels, and I'm not doing it. These are you guys putting it out, and I'm so appreciative of it because, to be honest with you, I tried to get on Reddit and do some stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even understand the format. So for those of you guys who are actually going out and sharing, for those of you guys who are playing it at work for people, for those of you who are, sending the links to your friends via text message, man, I cannot explain to you how much I appreciate that So with that being said, I'm going to show you how much I appreciate it because I want to do something special for you. And there's a story I'm forgetting about, but I'm going to pivot back and get back to that other story. We're going to institute a lottery into our subscriber mix. So I'm going to start with the first 100 subscribers, right? We're going to take numbers from 1 to 100 because the beautiful thing about YouTube is it lists out everybody and when they subscribe. I can go back to my very first subscriber. So out of my first 100 subscribers, I'm going to put their names in a hat, and I'm going to pull. And I'm going to pull a name out of there, and then you're going to get a care package from here in New Orleans. And guys, when I say care package, you can get a nice package of some of the things that are truly New Orleans. That'll be happening towards the end of the month, probably right as I go into the coast to coast AM deal. And then from there, we'll go from 100 to 200, 200 to 300, 300 to 400. And we'll keep on running the gamut. I wish I can give each and every one of you something back, but I can't. I mean, I don't have that kind of money. I got 2 kids that's in private school. I can't afford to do that. But it's just, I think highly of you guys for supporting me. And I really, really appreciate it. And the more I think about ways to, give back, the more I'm going to do things to give back. So I just want to tell you guys thank you. And I probably said it like 30 times, but I'll say it 10 more times before it's all said and done. So we had the Muddy Boot story. We had the, wow, I can't believe it. I forget the other story. The Faceless Man story. That's oh my goodness. Yes, that particular story, the inside baseball on that story is, I'm downtown at this souvenir shop. The guy who owns the souvenir shop, his name is Lucky, right? And Lucky's wife is there. And so I'm just talking to Lucky about getting some souvenirs and some things that I want to have around my house. And in particular, a couple of these Mardi Gras masks that he had, and a couple of Zulu coconuts that he had. And I don't know if you guys ever been to a parade, but there are these coconuts that they give out. And Lucky always has a little bit of everything. And I didn't get a Zulu coconut for this year, so I was trying to negotiate with Lucky to get one. And I just so happened to ask him. I said, "Hey, Lucky, your business is in the French Quarters. Have you had any strange things happen?" And he was like, "No, but my wife has, and her friends have." And so he said, "Go talk to my wife." So I talked to his wife, and she puts me on her friend who ends up sharing this story with me about being on St. Charles and Marengo, and her husband's cell phone breaking, or her boyfriend's cell phone breaking, and her going back to the car. And the craziest thing about Mardi Gras is, the streets, there are so many people on the streets, but yet you can be 1 block away from the parade and no one's there because they're all so concentrated in one area and everybody's so focused. And so when I meet her, I actually meet her at the restaurant on a corner of St. Charles and Marengo. Is it Hamburger and Seafood Company? Yeah, it's Hamburger and Seafood Company. So I meet her at that restaurant at the bar, and we're sitting there talking. And this lady walks out the bar with her drink, walks me to the exact spot where she had the incident, and completely paints the picture for me. And the look of terror on her face was just insane. I mean, she looked completely and totally terrorized. And the thing that really hurt her the most was that her boyfriend to this day doesn't believe her. And guys, if someone that's a loved one of your, and I don't think we'll have a problem with any of you guys because you guys are aware of these type of things, but it's important to be supportive of people. Some people may put out some stuff that you think is completely insane, but if you can notice, and if you do notice that their body's reacting and they're physically reacting to what they're telling you in a manner that's strange or unusual, then there's some truth there. It may not be all truth, but there's some truth there. And I think, we have to learn to be sensitive to other people's feelings and emotions and just not be big tubs of lard. But anyway, she shared that story with me. She actually walked me to the location. And it's a location that you can Google, because St. Charles and Marengo, there's a restaurant there. You go 2.5 blocks up, and you'll see some large trees in front of a house, and bam, you're right there. And the strange thing was, I asked her, you know, how did you know this just wasn't a mannequin that someone set there and, you know, put the Mardi Gras beads on? Because initially it seemed to me like, okay, well, it's Mardi Gras, and people do weird stuff during Mardi Gras. Like, they hang beads from trees. Like, they literally walk by strangers' houses and hang beads on their fences. Just crazy stuff that people do. And I said, well, how do you know that someone wasn't playing a joke on you, and that they just didn't put a mannequin there with a, you know, with a shirt on and some jeans and some Mardi Gras beads around its neck? She's like, no, the face moved, but it was no eyes, no mouth, no ears, no nothing, but it was moving, and it was twitching, like. And so I was like, wow, you know, I'm sorry that happened to you, but it's just, I think New Orleans is a strange place, and I really wish I could talk to the officer who was involved in that incident, but when I asked her his name, she didn't get his name. So that's just a freaky story, because I don't know how I would react if I was in a situation where there was a faceless person standing there looking at me with Mardi Gras beads on, and it's dark and I'm by myself, and I'm a guy. I don't know how I would react. If I'm a woman, I mean, oh my goodness, because I mean, just the thoughts that go through your head. So insanity, complete and total insanity. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to share with you guys. Again, May 7th or 8th, by the next video I'll tell you guys exactly what date it is. Coast to Coast AM. I'm going to get you guys the number so you can call into the show if you have any questions you want to ask about the stories that will be relayed. Just some of the things that are coming down the pipeline. There are a total of 30 Hurricane Katrina stories that I have that are in the works. Again, a lot of those have other voices on them, so they take a little while, but out of the next 10, we got about 8 done. We're waiting on 2 more. After we get through Coast to Coast, and we get through, I think there might be one more interview coming. I think Wes wanted to interview me on what is Wes show's called? Bigfoot. I think it's Bigfoot Hotspot Radio. I haven't heard back from Wes, but Wes, if you're checking this out, man, reply to my email. I'm happy to come on your show. But we're gonna pivot after we get out of the Katrina stuff. We're gonna pivot to some Bigfoot encrypted stuff again that I have that is completely insane, and I've been getting a lot of Bigfoot, and I think I'm gonna put together something very special, like a huge drop of Bigfoot stuff coming down the pipeline as well. So with that being said, guys, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure once I stop hitting record, I'm gonna think of something else, and I'm like, oh, I should have said that. But I really appreciate you guys subscribing. To my new subscribers, welcome to the family. To the people who've been with me from the beginning, you guys know you are my heart. And to the new people, you will slowly but surely grow and become a part of this family, and be a part of my heart as well. I really appreciate you guys, and I want to thank you again, just for listening and just for being supportive and for being here. Because you can get scared. There's about 100 channels to scare you, and you come back and check on me religiously, and you even ask for me if I'm late. So I really appreciate it. I'm out of here, guys. I'm gonna play a video game and eat some pizza, I guess. No, I can't eat pizza. I might get chased by Dogman again. I need to be able to run. I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna play a video game and relax. So I'll catch up with you guys later.